morning, everybody. It's Thursday, late April, and a friend of mine has been hassling me that in the first two videos I've made for my YouTube channel about hiking and wild camping, that I haven't done a gear review yet. I actually did one on my last video, but somehow I lost the footage for it. The camp at Tongoya Beach, where I did an overnighter there, solo overnighter there. I did a video on everything that I took with me, but somehow I lost the footage. I don't know what happened there. So I'm going to do it again. Most of the things that I'm going to talk about this morning are the things that I took with me, but I've had a couple of additions to my gear since then. So because it's late autumn here now, and we're basically going to start, we've had our first snow of the year. The night I camped at Tongoya Beach, we actually had our first snow of the year on the ranges close to here. So you know, winter's not far away now, so I'm altering all my kit at the moment for winter hiking, winter camping. Just starting to add a few more wintry things to my gear, which has meant some major changes and a bit of large spending to get that extra equipment. So anyway, so the first thing I think I'll talk about is, this was my old pack, the one that I've been using right up until now, and it's I think it might be 1000 denier Cordura. It's definitely synthetic like canvas, and it's heavy as, and I really like it because all the zips have that fold down cover on them. The main thing that I really like about this pack is it's one of those ones that has the bottom section that you can unzip and stuff a sleeping bag into, so that you don't have to get everything out of the top of your pack in order to get right down to the bottom of your sleeping bag. But I've just bought myself a new pack, and it doesn't have that section, and it's the only thing I don't like about the new pack. So I was guessing that this thing was around about 45 litre capacity, but I'm now wondering whether it was actually more, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So, two side pockets with compression straps, 1, 2, really good waist belt with lumbar support there. You can see in behind there, I hope, aluminium, those are the aluminium frame for the back. Really good soft straps, lots of webbing for keeping everything tight. Really nice big waist belt. But the problem is it doesn't hold enough. Curiously enough though, it's almost the same design as the new pack that I've bought, and you'll see why in a minute. So it's got a zip for a top in here, but no storage underneath the lid, which most packs have. It's got a typical for a pack that has a bottom zipper to open the bottom compartment. It's got that inner lining that has a ripcord at the bottom to separate what's in the bottom from whatever you have in the top. So I really like that pack. It's super comfortable and really good, but now that I'm adding extra gear to my kit, it's just not big enough, because for one overnighter at Tongoya Beach, I took enough food for probably 2 days if I was being careful, 3 litres of water, and clothing for 2 days, 3 days. I had a change of clothing in there plus what I was wearing, which can pretty much keep you going for any amount of time. Sleeping bag, shelter, and odd bits and pieces. That pack was full to the brim and weighed 14 kilos. and I was really hoping that I could keep my gear for the hike in Marlborough that we're going to do in 2017 down to as close to 10 kilos as I could, like ultralight. But I'm now starting to accept the fact that that's probably virtually impossible without eliminating all kinds of extra gear like cameras and stuff like that. So I don't want to do that. I want to take that extra gear. So basically that means bigger pack and just simply get fitter in order to be able to carry that extra weight. So Mithras and I had been talking about packs, and he was dead keen on getting himself a British Army Bergen. And I was looking at them online. They advertise them as being 90 litres without the side pockets. The side pockets, they call them rocket pockets I think, actually detach. So you can buy British Army Bergens without the pockets or with them. Each of those side pockets is supposed to be 10 litres each. I don't think they really are. I think they're probably more likely 5 litres. Full capacity with those side pockets is like 120 litres. And I just didn't really like the idea. When you look at photos of Bergens online, they look huge. And I don't want to have to carry a pack around that isn't nice and tight, because it hasn't got enough gear in it to fill it up, and I don't want to fill it up just simply to make it tight, because that's extra unnecessary weight and I'm just not into that. So anyway, last week I discovered that I got paid more than I expected to get paid. Been doing a lot of extra overtime hours at work and just lost track of what my earnings were, and so because I had this extra money that I wasn't calculating, I decided, stuff it, I'm going to go out and buy a Bergen. So I sent away online to a company in the South Island in Nelson called Outdoor Supplies or something like that. I'll put the link at the bottom there. It's quite a good website. They're probably running it from their home. It's a small company that do hunting, fishing and military gear. Some of it's ex-military army surplus. They haven't got a lot of stuff, but the prices that they have are really good. And their gear is really good. I bought a bunch of gear from them and it's, I've had no complaints about it. So anyway, this is the Bergen. I've got a cover on it. I was just testing it out this morning because I bought this cover for my other pack, and it, I was a bit iffy that it didn't cover the pack as well as I had hoped. This is this dry cover is produced by a company called Navigator South. I don't know if you can see that clearly. That's their logo. I believe that they're probably in China or Korea or something like that, and that they're producing gear, mainly camping gear, for a big chain store here called The Warehouse, which is kind of like Walmart. Good gear. It's cheap, but it's not top of the line, but it's good enough. Because it's cheap, you can sort of accept the fact that if it gets wrecked, it's cheap and easy to replace. So that was the largest pack rain cover that they had when I went in to buy one. Folds away into a little pouch that the pouch is attached to the pack, so it's really small when it folds away. But I've decided it's good enough. It actually does cover the Bergen enough, but the Bergen is also seriously waterproof, or at least highly water resistant. Anyway, it's military design. So for anyone who doesn't know what a British Bergen is, the word Bergen is the name that the British military use for a rucksack. Instead of saying rucksack, they say Bergen. I had no idea why. I think during the Falklands War they changed the design of their military packs, and the Bergen was the result. You can buy them in two types, what they call a long back and a short back. I had been looking at a couple of videos for the long back Bergen but couldn't really find any decent ones that explained enough about them. Saw quite a good one that I think I posted the link to on our forum about the shortback Bergen. From what I can make out, the only difference between the two is the longback is slightly skinnier, width-wise, and higher, and it's designed for taller people basically. And the shortback is exactly the opposite. It's shorter and slightly wider, and probably white deeper as well. So I ordered the longback because I'm tall. I'm 6'4", and I'm dead happy with it. So I'll just I've got this stuffed at the moment with packing. It hasn't got my gear in it, obviously. My gear's all on the table here, just so that I could see what it was like pushed right out to its full capacity. I seriously don't believe that's 90 litres. If you got 90 1-litre drink bottles and tried to stuff them into this pack, I would be surprised if you managed to get 50 or 60 of those bottles in there. But I think the way that they have calculated the volume of this pack is based on the fact that this lid can be moved right up, has really long straps on it, and so you can get probably another 10 litres of gear under the lid, and that adds quite a bit of capacity to the pack in general. So it's 1,000 denier cordura, so it's heavy canvas, and I'm not sure exactly how heavy this pack is, but I think I read somewhere that it's 3.1 kilos or something. So I'm just going to see if my little scales will weigh it, remembering that this actually has stuffing in it at the moment, but the stuffing weighs virtually nothing. Okay, so that's too heavy for my scales, so it must be over 3 kilos, because I think those scales weigh up to 3 kilos. So heavy canvas, but the actual pack itself is really light. All the stitching is really good. It's thicker cord on the stitching than most packs I've seen anywhere. I really don't like the idea of spending like $250, $300, $400 for a really modern super light backpack that where the material is so thin you could rip it quite easily, because I want to carry things that are sharp like an axe and knives and stuff like that, and punching a hole through a $400 pack would not impress me at all. So one of the good things about these is because they're ex-military, they're cheap as hell. I bought this one for $120 New Zealand, and to me that's a bargain. So in the front you have this little pocket, and it's got a zip on it, YKK zips, which everybody says are the best you can buy, and they're definitely very hardcore, big teeth, large zipper. So in there I was just trying out see how well my cockpit fitted in there last night. We'll look at that in a sec. All of the canvas that this pack is made out of, you can tell by when you look through it, one side of the canvas has been sprayed with silicone rubber. So the other side is of course the camouflage side. So the entire pack is basically a wet sack, although where the stitching is put on, it's punctured through the canvas, so it's not really fully waterproof, but it is highly water resistant. On another video I saw a guy who said that he accidentally left this flap up at one time, and this front pocket got rain in it, and it actually filled up and held the water in there, so it shows how waterproof it is. So on the side here, I might be better to show you on this side. there are two zippers underneath these flaps, and these zippers are designed to zip onto the side pockets that fit out here, what they call the rocket pockets, which I've heard people say are 10 litres, but I think they're more likely 5 litres each. So they zip on, and at the top and bottom you've got these, these plastic clips. I think they call them warrior clips. Two of those there, two at the bottom, that also clip onto the side pouches, and you have these compression straps that can go around the pouch to really strap it in, or you can have them underneath the pouch and use it to put an axe or ski poles or tent poles or something like that underneath. One of these little flaps here has molle weaving on it. I'd be really surprised if anybody used that a great deal, because it would be better if the molle was down here as well and you could put straps across to hang smaller bags on. So what I'm going to do, instead of buying the big bag, the 5 or 10 litre bag that goes on the side, I'm going to buy a smaller water pouch. I'll put a picture on the video. It's kind of a generic from a Chinese company that produce military style gear. I bought a couple of things from them. I'll show you my camo bag shortly that I bought from them. It's based on Maxpedition style water bottle medic pouch, which is basically a canvas tube with a zip top, and it's got a big pouch on the front. So it's about 10 inches high. So it will easily, by the molle on the water pouch, strap onto these, and I'll put one here and one on the other side to hold 2 water bottles. And they're smaller, lighter, and not as cumbersome as the standard big side pouches that this is designed for. The other thing that you can buy to strap onto here is a hydration pouch, like a Camelback, camouflage one. Clips on and zips on the same way as the side pouch, so you can have a Camelback on one side and a side pouch on the other, or 2 Camelbacks or whatever. So I'm having a look around for one of those, because I'm considering that might be a really good option. These packs were designed before the idea of having a Camelback bladder pouch in the back became a standard thing. So that's another one. One of the things I really like about this pack is that you can add on a side pouch, or you can leave it as it is. But I want side pouches because I want to be able to get to things without having to dig inside the pack, especially since it hasn't got one of those bottom zip where you can get underneath. The back is basically a large rectangle. It's not contoured or anything like that, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 foam pads stitched into the back of it. Now this pack was made in 1997, so it's almost 20 years old. It's obviously had a bit of use, but the foam in here is still soft as. So one of the things I've noticed with some packs and with foam rubber in general is that when it ages, and it doesn't really take that long, it can go really hard. It loses its sponginess, but this is still real soft, and I've worn this and had not with a lot of weight, but it definitely is a really comfortable pack to wear. I just need to adjust the straps and everything to help it sit on my hips a bit easier. Same with the shoulder straps. Foam in there is still soft as. A couple of molle loops there. Long extension webbing to adjust the size of the strap. The waist belts have not got huge padding, but to be quite honest, I've often wondered why people put so much padding on these side belts, because to me it actually doesn't make that much difference. I don't feel like this is digging into my hips or anything like that. Decent size, solid warrior clip on the front. You've got two molle loops here. I'm not quite sure what they are for because they don't line up with the loops on the lid, and there's a set of 4 of those on the lid. So if you're putting something through here, molle straps, it's going to be something that just sits here, so it's probably really just to hold like a foam mat or something almost right up against your head. Really solid hand strap there. There's no strapping on the bottom for holding a sleeping bag or whatever. Of course, this pack is designed, because it's got such a large volume, to have everything inside the pack, so you shouldn't have to have anything hanging down underneath. But there are more of these warrior clips here, so you could actually strap one of the side pouches underneath here, or a hydration pouch or something like that. They've obviously got modular bags that fit into those things. There's also this loop here, which is probably designed for an axe handle or something like that, or ice pick, and there's one on each side of that front pocket as well. So you could put an axe up through here and have it sitting on the side, which is what I'm going to do. Okay, so the lid straps are really close together for some reason. Most packs are kind of out here, but these ones are quite close together. On the top of the lid you have this big pouch here that has a zipper on the side, and that's probably 5 litres in there, I would think, easily 5 litres. It's a huge top pack, which you don't see on many backpacks at all. So for me, that's probably going to hold wet weather gear and one of my tarps, so if it starts raining I can quickly put up a shelter or get my wet weather gear on. The lid itself also has another inside pack in there, which is also huge. I would think that's probably about 8 litres in there. All of these packs come with a little sewn on patch which has the information about when they were produced and everything. So like this one's got written on it, rucksack long convoluted DPM IRR. DPM means disruptive pattern material. That's the kind of camouflage that's on it, and it's got the year of its manufacture, which is 1997, and a product batch number or something like that. There's also a little stamp here which hasn't been stamped on very well, so I can't really tell what it says, but it looks like it's a date stamp, and it's probably the date it was issued to the first person who had it. Underneath the lid is one of those, I think they call these snow baffles or snow covers. This is like the heaviest one I've ever seen on a pack. Usually these things are really light material. This is quite thick. It's like a thick raincoat material, and it's got drawstring to zip it up, plus you've got a draw cord around the top of the canvas itself, which is really handy. So just to give you an idea of exactly like what the inside volume of this thing is, I'll show you how much stuffing I've put in here. Basically I got a bunch of shopping bags and filled them up with polystyrene packing, so it will kind of give you an idea of volume. That's the size of one of those shopping bags. So there's 1, 2, that one's got shredded paper, 3, 4 of those, and I reckon I could probably get another 2 of those in there. So it kind of gives you an idea when you're thinking of like dry sack size, how much stuff you can get inside that pack. It's a lot of stuff. So I could probably have put another 2 of those in there to really like stuff it out completely. The other thing with this pack is these side zips that are under these little flaps, you can zip them together and it makes the pack smaller. And I noticed that was how it arrived when it came in the mail. It cuts the size of the pack down by probably, I don't know, 3/4 of its volume, and it would be really hard to almost put anything in there because there's hardly any room when those side zips are done up. And of course you still got this big bulky lid on the top. So that's my pack, that's my new Bergen. As far as I know, you can't buy them in the States, although you know the chances are there is somewhere where you could find like an Army Navy store or something like that that has managed to get a supply of them and sell them cheaply. So if you are looking at something like that, because they're rugged, they're cheap, and they have huge storage, you might have to go to eBay in the UK or to one of their Army surplus stores in the UK and have a look at prices of them, and they are dead cheap.